is no regular day.
Wow, you too.
Because this morning,
keep in contact.
Derek Bitchin, or whatever the fuck his name is, bailed out of jail. Now, mind you, his bail was $1 million. $1 million! And this nigga bailed out of jail. This is the same nigga who had his neck on George Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And he thought that he could just get out of jail and the city wasn't going to come together and have something to say about that. Well, now let me tell you one thing. Number one, 95% of Minneapolis police officers do not live here. They don't know about the Kansas station. They don't know about the Lake Street crackheads. They don't know about Cup. They just went there when the police was called on George. So how the fuck do I feel having you patrol my streets and you not from here? I'm not fucking with that. I'm not fucking with that. And number two. Hours. That's a simple answer. But number two, people did not want for us to rally today because they said he's gonna go to trial. He's gonna get his sentence. But how long did it take for them to even put that nigga in jail? They had to make up all these fucking. My bad, I'm not 12. They had to make up all these fucking lies and say that he overdosed on something, but we all saw it. Nations do not come together and protest for one fucking name for no reason. They did not protest in London for no reason. They did not protest in Canada for no reason. They didn't protest in South Africa for no reason. The reason they did that is for... Say his name! George Floyd! 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 George Floyd. Hold up. George Floyd. That's his fucking name. George Floyd is his name. He was calling out for his mother when he was dying. What kind of person do you have to be so insecure and so entitled to your fucking position that you do that to a human being for 8 minutes and 46 seconds? A robot! For 8 minutes! A fucking robot! 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Y'all was walking fast as hell. We probably got here in 8 minutes and 46 seconds. To be very honest with you, that is not a way to put someone away. You want to arrest somebody? Do it right. They don't go to training enough. They just have to start shooting like some blind niggas with guns because they feel like they're scared. I have a question. Is anyone here scared for their safety? No one? No one? Yet they're in our streets. We have to patrol our own streets. Community members have to patrol George Floyd Square. So 12 doesn't fuck it up. Does that even make sense? So 12 doesn't fuck it up. They're not here to protect and serve. They're here to kill and follow their agenda that's been going on for 400 years. Go to the street. Oh. It's burned. Down the street. It's burned. Burn it again. They burned that to the ground a while ago. That's why we're here. No, it's not over. We have a few spoken word pieces. And then I'm gonna speak again. And then I'm gonna hand the megaphone to anybody who wants to speak. And then it'll be over. Because niggas got school. I had to leave my own house.
Sorry, bro. How you doing?
You're good, man. You're good. You can blind me, brother. It's all good.
I'm trying not to.
I know, right? I'm trying not to too, man.
It took my team of teenagers to text me this morning and say we need to hold an emergency protest because that nigga's out of jail. How does that make the community feel? You killed one of us. We don't want you out here. We don't want you to go back to your home comfortably. When we are not even in the street comfortably because y'all niggas are trying to kill us.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is Nico from Unicorn Riot. We're here live in South Minneapolis off of Chicago and Lake Street. A small march, well, not a small, a pretty large march of over a few hundred people has arrived on Chicago Lake, is taking up space right now, speaking. And this is led by youth activists. And right now, the reason why this protest is happening is because Derek Chauvin, the police officer charged in the murder of George Floyd after kneeling on his neck for nearly 10 minutes, has been released from prison on no cash bail. He was released and signed over by Allegheny Casualty Company. There's a lot of speculation on the internet as to whether their ties to other pro-police groups that are allowing people to get bailed out. So right now, the crowd is talking about filming, and the crowd is doing some chants right now. There was just a question or an announcement to tell people to not stream people's faces without their consent. We have this youth activist that's taking, they have the microphone, and I think they're going to do a couple spoken word pieces, or there is a spoken word piece coming up soon. Again, we're here on Chicago Lake Street. This march started off of Chicago and 38th, otherwise known as George Floyd Square. So I'll bring you through some of the crowd so you can see some of it. It's a very, very fast march. Oh, sorry, bro. Very, very, very fast march that happened. You hear the chant. We got the people doing some loud noises with their tires, the little burnouts, flashouts. It's a very reminiscent of a lot of the scenes that we've seen over the summer, where we have quite a large group of people actually taking up hard blockades with their vehicles. And there's every side of the street has been hard blockaded by vehicles. This is a non-permitted march. This is a few hundred people are out here on the corner of Chicago and Lake. This started as a vigil, or what was going to be called a vigil. The National Guard has been activated here in Minnesota by Tim Walz, along with about 100 National Guard members, are about 100 state troopers and 75 DNR officers. The DNR is Department of Natural Resources, and their officers have been deployed to Minneapolis by Tim Walz to, quote, ensure safety. Here's the motorcycles you just heard a minute ago. They might be from, hey, how you doing? All right. They might be from B-Rap. Bikers riding against police brutality, I'm not sure. I don't see any of the insignias, but there's definitely some folks that are in solidarity with what's happening. This street was pretty burnt up a few months ago. This was a Foot Locker. Here's Chicago Lake Liquors. Sort of been boarded up since May, late May. You have this person walking around with the Kaepernick jersey.
Been fighting for years. Unicorn Riot, man. You know how they coming out here, man. Make sure y'all subscribe to them, turn post notifications on, man. They out here doing their thing, boy. Out here at every single protest, man. You know, we got the bus right there blocked in. We tried to help them get out, but you don't want our help. But yeah, we out here, got the intersection blocked off. You know, we're just gonna see what happens. Hopefully it's peaceful. And yeah, nothing going on too crazy, because they sent like 200 National Guards out here. So we gotta watch out for that. So yeah, man.
What's your feeling about, so Derek Chauvin gets released from prison on a no cash bail, and then the police or the governor interacts with the community by sending National Guardmen. What's your thought around that?
I think it's crazy. Like, they already know what's gonna happen, so that's why they basically did it, because they already knew like riots and chaos was gonna happen and stuff. So that's why they basically sent out 200 National Guards, because they already know how we act out here. They already know we just a different breed, you know. Minnesota is on the come up, you know. Man, shout out to King of the Lost, though. You know, we really do it out here, though, for real, man. But yeah, these my camera people over here, though, man. Man, you already know, man. We not stopping until we get peace, man, and justice, bro. We not stopping at all. They need to arrest this dude back. $1 million bond? Bro, are you serious? That shit is crazy. They need to lock that dude up for life. They keep saying it was a drug overdose. A drug overdose? Are you serious? No, boy. That dude had his knee on his neck. That's no excuse. That's no excuse at all. Well, yeah, man. No further information.
Cool. Appreciate it. What makes you bring a Kaepernick jersey out here?
We've been fighting for years. Police brutality. That's all.
So again, that's a scene real quick here on Chicago Lake Street. People have taken up this corner, this intersection. We have marshals out here. Hey, hey. Are you with the protection or you?
Yes, Silverback Protection. I'm Keelan, I'm the owner of that company.
Oh,
I
yeah?
just come to check it out. I used to run the security right there at the Sheridan, and we just ended our contract Monday. So I just come to see how the crowd and try to protect some of the businesses, you know.
What's your thoughts around this intersection still many months later, looking just sort of destructed?
Well, I respect protesting, you know what I mean? You know, I just want everybody to get their point across because I don't agree what happened to that brother, you know, and some of the small businesses that lost their business for some of the looting and all that. I don't agree with that, but when it comes to standing up for the human being rights, I stand right behind that 110%, you know, because we're all human beings. Whenever you got to worry about your kid going out to get some candy bars or anything like that and not coming home, you know, that's ridiculous. So.
And so, real quick question, in response to the no charges filed right away and the officers sort of being free but also being fired but not being charged, that's sort of when I saw the buildings then start to take get sort of demolished as the police sort of stood down as well. Is there, like, in your opinion, is there a way that could have alleviated the situation to where you didn't have, the destruction of buildings? And also, a side note off of that, do you think that the charges would have been brought to Chauvin and the other officers had the buildings not been vandalized?
Oh, you put me on the spot, but probably not. Probably not. Probably wouldn't have been no charges, it's good cops and it's bad cops, and I think, whenever you get, you allow a certain thing to go on for so long, people think it's right. It's like a child. You rear your child, and you don't discipline him when he fuck up, and so he grows up to be an adult, used to doing wrong, so it's not wrong to him.
That's a good analogy. Thank you. The march is moving. I'm going to catch up to it. Thanks for your time. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. See if this march is moving, or I'm not really sure. I see some people moving and some people not. So I'm not positive. Interesting conversation we just had with that gentleman back there from the protection agency. Looks like they're just sort of taking this space, I think. Doing some motorcycle run. Good to see you. What's up? How you doing? Good to see you. You got the Aroma flag out here?
George Floyd!
We've covered some of the Aroma protests this year. People have equated the Aroma liberation to Black liberation. Aroma Lives Matter to Black Lives Matter in a way. Here's, I can't remember what this building was. Actually, I think it was like the child care center and something else. The Popeyes is right over here in the background. Excuse me, the Popeyes is back here in the background. Anyways, this corner is all different since last May. And this is where the Sheraton was. This hotel right here, this building in the background you see. Sheraton got commandeered by anti-authoritarians, anarchists, and the houseless this summer to provide housing for unhoused people while the pandemic and the curfew was ripping through the city. Again, this march is moving very fast. Every time it moves, wow. You see Jamara Clark's name, George Floyd's name, abolish the police. That's been the landscape. Cops kill folks. This has been the landscape here in Minneapolis for the last summer. ACAB. This is the Greenway. I don't know if you can see a tent in the distance. A lot of unhoused people in Minneapolis. Some are living now on the Greenway. How are you? Good to see you. I'll take your bag. Yep. Doing some transitioning of the material equipment that we have. Give us a moment. Make sure to check the audio too. And then here is this for that. Check. Sweet, thank you. This is Georgia on the camera now. We got Jen in the streets as well. We got Chris in the back, and thank you all. Right now we have this crowd, a few hundred deep, with maybe a dozen or so cars behind it that's moving very quickly towards downtown. It stopped on Chicago and Lake Street. It started off George Floyd Square. There was an action that started about 6:30. We started covering it about 31st in Chicago, and so we caught up with it. Basically, what we witnessed was some speeches. There was going to be some more spoken word and some other speeches, but I think people wanted to march, and the energy was to march, and so I think that that's what's happened. You just heard a little bit ago us speak to a security officer who was talking about the damaged buildings down the street on Chicago and Lake, but also really said that maybe there would have been no charges had the buildings not been burnt down, although he didn't like the small businesses being affected. So it's a lot of dichotomies right here in Minneapolis when you're talking about the police, when you're talking about the situation here and the situation of Derek Chauvin. You know, obviously there's also the abolitionist perspective where people are talking about abolishing the police and abolishing the prison systems. But that doesn't work if you're talking about then pushing for Chauvin to be arrested or jailed. And then there's also the other side of it where people are like, well, you have the system and you need to have the system operate the way it is. And bail is part of that system. People have been fighting for different bails, different no cash bail, different regular bail. Bail has been forever seemingly unfair in the system of judicial system, where you have people like Khalif Browder, who was in Rikers, held in prison for years, ended up committing suicide after years in prison, being held on bond. He didn't have enough to pay. But you have Derek Chauvin, who then is released on a $1 million no cash bond. Allegheny Casualty Company is the organization or the company that paid for his bond, and that is the security of him, to where if he does not come into court, they will be held liable Chauvin is released on a $1 million no-cash bond. Right now we're at the back edge of the march. What we know is that Derek Chauvin was in Oak Park Heights prison, which is a maximum security prison, and that being in the maximum security prison, he was also given a segregated excuse me, get my language out, a segregated, organized way that the police would interact with him, where they would not send corrections officers of color to be the interactors between Derek Chauvin and the institution that he was in. And so Derek Chauvin is now released from prison. He's also facing tax evasion charges. Some people think that he will not get convicted of these murder charges and that he will get convicted of tax evasion. That's yet to be seen. March 2021 is the date of trial for Derek Chauvin, as well as the other 3 officers charged. We're going to try to grab some interviews with some folks in a very brief moment. So we're here marching. Yeah, there we go. We're here marching. Do you want to say your name? If you don't want to, you don't. That's but otherwise. So we have Derek Chauvin released on no cash bail. What's your opinion as to what's happening right here?
You know, I think this is a big instance again of the criminal justice system on the prison industrial complex not serving communities of color and low wealth communities. I feel like in an ideal world we're able to abolish the police, but until then we need a justice system that holds killer cops accountable. And you know, I think the intersection of policing, race, capitalism sits a very deadly paradigm that we live in right now. So it's just good to see people out in the streets, and you know, I think the virus has gotten people feel pent up and fed up. They're feeling the economic and health impacts of the coronavirus, and I think this kind of news coming during this time is really disheartening for folks. And I mean, if you look around, it's mostly young people out here, and you see young people have not really been engaged in the electoral cycle this year, but people are voting with their feet, and clearly the younger generation is voting for abolition and a better world. So
yeah. Well, thank you. So, and when it comes to basically the way forward, March 2021 is the court dates for Chauvin. Whether that falls the way through where he gets convicted or not, what do you hope in the future that something change? What do you hope changes for the future to where we have either more accountability right away, or more justice right away, or a change in the system?
Yeah, you know, I think regardless, we have to see some type of change. I think in an ideal world, we abolish the police and we cut all of their funding and we move it into community programs. But until then, I think we need community control of the police, and not just a oversight board, but true community control. And I feel like beyond that, people just need to stay in the streets. The city of Minneapolis was out in the streets for 2 weeks straight, and Lake Street burned, and we got more shit done in that period of time than the 5 years since Jamar Clark, the policy changes that the politicians want to use. So I think people are going to stay in the streets until the policing system as we know it is abolished.
On that note, we were just talking to a small business owner, and then I'll let you get back to what you're doing. We were just talking to a small business protector, actually, like a customized protection agency, and he was talking about he didn't want to see the small businesses burn, but then he also was saying, I don't know if that there was going to be any charges had the businesses not burned. What is your take on? Obviously, I think I heard it, but do you think that the people being in the streets and actually taking part in some of the destruction, albeit with the communities, you know, right in the community off of Lake Street, do you think that was part of the reason why that there was charges brought up in the first place?
I think it was, but and I think that it was really tragic that our small businesses were impacted like that. But the reality is, like, people in this city specifically targeted big banks and places like Target that have been pimping out our community for years. And so really this is just a stimulus that we were due from the government. And again, the small businesses, it's really tragic, and I think our community will rally around them to support them coming back. But again, the days the city was burning, we got concessions that we never would have dreamed of the 5 years since Jamar Clark before that. So
Yeah, any last words you want to say?
no, I think just anybody who's able to be out in these streets, come out. Anybody who's not, make sure you're checking in your people who are out here and donate to Unicorn Riot and other independent media. So
Appreciate you.
yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Nico.
Appreciate you.
Good to see you, bro.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. You all too. So we just heard from that community member. We're going to talk to some youth here in a minute too. We have different photojournalists out here, independent photojournalists. We have our independent media organization, Unicorn Riot, which you just heard, to donate to. If you have the financial means and the financial privilege, we operate off of your donations. So we are at unicornriot.ninja/donate. Sign up to be a monthly subscriber, a monthly donor. All of our work is allowed free on the internet, non-commercial, share alike, put on Creative Commons licensing. So we're a nonprofit 501c3 educational media organization. All of the donations are also tax deductible. So we have people that's standing outside of their house with their fists up as the march is passing 25th, going down Chicago Avenue. You okay right now to be filmed and everything? Okay. All right, cool. So, hello. You seem like a youth. What does this feel like to be out here? I think this is maybe organized by youth. Are you one of the organizers? What does this all feel like right now for you?
This is actually my friend's protest. This is a lot right now, but I can't be on the wrong side of history. We making history right now. I want this in my school textbooks when I go back to school, because this is real. When we all saw the article, we were pissed. So this resulted into this right here. And the people that are against this right now, they hate to see solidarity. They hate to see unity. They hate to see people come together and form like this. They hate to see this. We're stronger when we're together, honestly.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So when it comes to being activated, have you been to other protests before this?
Yes, I'm really active because I'm a black girl in America. It's not a choice not to be active. I gotta be out here. I got black brothers, I got black sisters. My dad was black, my mom is black. It's not really a choice. This is mandatory. This is like a job. Because when I see my people out here just dropping, I can't sit back at home. And, yeah, I can't sit down at home and just be chill about this. My soul won't allow me to do it.
No, thank you. Can you talk about that a little bit further? You said you can't just sit back. You're a black woman. You're impacted by this in so many different ways.
5 different fights.
Go ahead.
We're fighting against the health system. We're fighting against the judicial system. We're fighting against every single fucking system in Minneapolis. The school system. It's not okay. It would be pathetic for us to sit back and not be out here.
It's not an option for us to just be quiet. As black girls, as black young girls, it's not an option for us to just be quiet and be on the sidelines while this shit is happening. It's not an option.
Our brothers to die, and our brothers cannot allow us to die at the hands of the white man.
Okay? And with Breonna Taylor, black women deserve justice too. That's why I'm out here too. Black women are not acknowledged enough. Black women are also dying by the police. If we're not dying in hospitals, we out here getting killed by police too. So I'm out here because I'm a black girl. I have black brothers, and I'm tired of this.
What do you hope to change?
This white privilege, this white supremacy in this country has to stop. No man with $1 million should be let out of jail for murdering somebody for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. That is white supremacy, that is white privilege. There are people in jail serving life for petty crimes, for marijuana, for DUIs, which I guess is not a petty crime, but that's not okay. They're serving life. They're getting the chair. Emmett Till. Yeah. And that's not okay. Our people cannot be incarcerated, dying of coronavirus in those small cells to please the white man. That's not gonna happen. We're seeing the same story over and over for the past 400 years, and we're tired of it.
We just want to be heard. We only 16 years old. We can't do it by ourselves.
Bro, they're gonna find us.
We only 16 years old. We can't do it by ourselves.
What do you hope, if people are watching this, what do you hope that people can do to help you all in the struggle?
I know that coronavirus is going on and you probably got family members. You don't want to be outside getting your people sick. But if you see posts boosting protesters, literally share that shit. If you see articles speaking on white fragility, share that shit. Read that shit if you're white, okay? Acknowledge your privilege.
Yeah, you have to acknowledge your privilege, and you have to be an ally. For you to be if you're not anti-racist, you are actively racist.
And
you
stop the performative activism. If you don't care, we don't need you.
We saw too many people drop out once the school year started. But I have school tomorrow, you got school tomorrow, and we're still out here. Okay. You have to make sacrifices.
What is, last question, I'll let you get all back to it. What has this been like as a youth going through 2020 in Minneapolis? You had the coronavirus really eating up your whole school, and then you had George Floyd in the uprising. What has this been like?
It's fucking ridiculous. I need time to decompress. I need the same privilege that the white folks get. They need to make therapy free. They need to make it so me and my sisters can roam the hallways freely once Coronas is gone, and we need to be able to walk the streets freely without having to fear for our lives. During the summer, I had to buy her a gas mask because they was trying to gas us downtown. Honestly, that is not safe. That's not protecting. You're not protecting your people, and you're wearing that badge wrong.
I wish that I could be a teenager, go to the beach, sip on some yogurt. Okay? I want to be a teenager. I don't want to be out here protesting for basic human decency. What the hell does that doesn't even make sense, gosh.
It doesn't make sense.
Basic human decency. How the fuck is my skin a threat?
It's not, sis. And we have to consistently remind our people that it's not. This kind of stuff, if we weren't so mentally strong, this breaks people. As kids, that's mentally draining. Okay. There's so many fights that we have to fight just as children.
This is shit that you see at war. Ain't nobody supposed to see this shit. Tear gas is illegal. They tear gassing us. Whole time we was getting tear gas this whole entire summer. They don't even use that shit in war. And honestly, I got school tomorrow. I got football practice tomorrow. There's no excuse why you should not.
Player? Girls can play football.
Wow. We can play football. We can play football.
I got a volleyball game tomorrow. Nobody can come though, but it'll still be fun. Like these are things we're supposed to enjoy in life, but we can't. I'm gonna be tired tomorrow because I'm out here walking from Cup Foods on 38th all the way to downtown. And
it's not an option to be a teenager right now for us.
That is selfish if you are. If you're ignoring something, you are the problem. Literally. If you're ignoring us out here, if you don't want to come out here because you're scared, we're scared.
We're scared too. I'm scared too.
Shit, they can kill us at any moment.
I'm hearing that the National Guard, my chest rising up. I'm scared too. That ain't no excuse. Shit, I'm scared.
We have to be in the good kind of trouble, not the bad kind of trouble. I think MLK said that.
All right, any last words you all have?
Derek Chauvin needs to go back to jail. Free the kids in cages.
Okay.
Please vote Donald Trump out of office because we can't. Vote for George Floyd. Vote because he can't.
That's why Breonna Taylor, because she can't do it no more. Imagine being an ER tech, saving lives, and then going back home just to lose yours by somebody who was supposed to protect and serve you.
You know what? One more thing. For anybody saying that Breonna Taylor was in the wrong, she was asleep. They already had that person in custody.
And if she wasn't asleep, she was in her own home.
Where are we?
Thank you all. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time. We're up to, this is Franklin right here.
Okay. I see the people under your comments. I'm not trying to die.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think So here we're reaching up to Chicago Franklin. We just heard from two youth. Pretty incredible interview. Looks like they've taken up the whole street here in Chicago Franklin. It looks like people are stopping up a bus or stopping up some other vehicle. As you see, other people have created hard blockades with their vehicles, protecting the march and the marchers. So yeah, it looks like the bikers are performing, creating some kind of blockade here, and there might have been some disagreements over that. But here we're on Chicago Lake Street. We just heard from this gentleman about why he was out here with the Kaepernick. So this park is PV Park, and just 4 weeks ago, last month sometime, the police raided this park. As we heard from a community member when the march was coming down, it was talking about there was a lot of political will to make some changes from the George Floyd uprising. Well, one of those political will changes was the police were supposedly not going to be contracted with the park police anymore. So the Minneapolis Park Boards would not contract with the police, and that became not a reality. They definitely were contracting with the police. The police Minneapolis police were used in the raid of PV Park, and that's about the houseless issues. That was a sanctuary place. Separate but related in the sense that these are things that are happening on the south side of Minneapolis that are consistent with police brutality, police violence, as well as different oppression going on here in Minneapolis. A lot of racism and disparities here.
Especially the niggas that let that nigga get out of jail with a $1 million bond. A $1 million bond. Do you know what $1 million would do to this city alone? Say that! This city alone? That's a lot of money. If George don't get it, shut it down! If George don't get it, shut it down! If George don't get it, shut it down! If George don't get it, shut it down!
As we were walking down Chicago Ave, there was a building where I was like, I don't remember what specific building it was. There was like some center in it, but there was also a Minneapolis Police Department substation inside of it.
This is what community looks like when you come together.
So again, the march right here is on Franklin and Chicago. Oh, perfect. All right. So this is what we were talking about, was some of the unhoused, the evictions that happen at PV Park. I think there's going to be a speaker about that. Oh wow, this person is doing a flip behind us. He just finished. We got one of the bikers riding off. Hey, good fan. Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it. What's your name? Tiger. Good to meet you. I'm Nico. Word. All right. Oh yeah, I feel like I recognize your eyes, but it's always hard. You know? So we got somebody with a shield out here. Out in Portland, the police have been taking people's shields preemptively. Sorry. So the speech is going to start about. He's doing flips. He's doing flips. There we go. So I think they're going to form a circle and talk about the evictions of the unhoused, but I'm not sure. That's sort of what I heard.
Hey! Open up the speaker!
Hey! Yo! This summer, I don't know if y'all heard about the Sheridan. Y'all hear about that? The homeless hotel? Yeah, when that shit broke down, all the homeless had to go back into these parks. Starting off with Powder Horde. Yeah, I also want as minimum amount of cameras away from me as possible. Please, like.
That means don't film him.
Yeah. Can you turn that? Turn that.
So we'll keep the audio on it and we'll not film him.
Cameras down.
Cameras down.
All right. This summer, continuously, we've been brutalized by the park police. doing something that is institutional, something that is made in this society, which is completely based off colonization and disenfranchising people. They will push people from camp to camp to inhabitable conditions, not letting them be able to have a viable, fucking sustainable household. And we can go beyond that. We can go beyond that. They don't just move us from park to park. We're off the highway, the wall of God natives, right off Middle Earth. We're off 94. We're at the Greenway. We're at an empty lot, and they still will kick us out, no matter what we have.
Where are they supposed to go?
Where are we supposed to go? These nonprofits try to shove people into hotels in these suburbs with no resources, no phone, no fucking way to commute or make it anywhere. Then they tag them with loitering charges. Now you gotta go to court over at Coon Rapids. The truth of the matter is, these nonprofits make the homeless people sign contracts that will sell 30% of their unemployment. A Vivo, right down this street, a Native American nonprofit who made $1 million in 2017. Their top 6 officials, they don't care about us. Nonprofits, fucking community organizers, fucking city council members. They are known accomplices and collaborators with the state. Their job exists based off of our suffering.
Fuck the park police!
Fuck the park police! Fuck the park police! And even beyond that, we can go another step forward. The working class, us, how many of you know 3 generations in one household and they still can't make it by for rent? Housing isn't sustainable anymore. Our necessities are sold in plastic bags.
We're not filming the speaker right
and
now.
praise themselves. They will always speak about humanity, always praise the justice for all. They will always praise this unity. They will preach so much of a great man. Why should we mimic them? We don't want a new America. We don't want a new Europe. We will not mimic our oppressors. We need the new man and woman, the whole human being.
Helicopters flying low and people are flicking it off. We just heard a speech about some of the unhoused people and some of the ways forward.
Hey, I just got one question. Everybody else just saying this and that. But my question is, how the fuck they mad at us and they want to kill us and they the one who took us from our country? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. Y'all out here raping slaves like my sister, my auntie and them. And y'all want to kill us? We should want to kill y'all. Hey, that Bible say hand for hand, eye for eye, tooth for a tooth, do it not? Okay, thank you. Hey, here you go. That's all I wanted to say.
This gentleman just sort of came up here and they allowed the open mic to him. It seemed like they might be moving around in a minute.
Alright, guys, we have. Alright, hold up.
Well, there's some disagreements as to where to go next.
Hey, and I've been saying this since I was a shorty, but fuck the police! Fuck the police! Alright, pay attention for a second. We have 2 options.
You know, the people are going to discuss the options.
Let me say something. Let me say something. Hold on. Let me say something about going downtown. Downtown is literally the headquarters for the Minneapolis police. We will be ambushed and we won't have enough
Yeah. So again, we're here on Chicago and Franklin Avenue as people start to talk about the pros and cons of going downtown compared to moving around somewhere else. And it looks like there's going to be some other organizing, speaking, talking about keeping people safe.
Let's just go
So again, we're here for Chicago and Franklin, and we see people have created hard blockades. This is sort of a youth-run, organized march and rally. This started out as a 6:30 thing. It was saying that they were going to protest. That thing got canceled on social media after the National Guard was called out. Then there was a vigil that was called for on social media at 6:30, basically the same time, calling for a peaceful protest. Again, there's tons of youth out here. It's mostly youth out here that you see, and it's pretty 300, 400, maybe 500 people out here at the moment. The order that Tim Walz gave earlier was to have 100 National Guard deployed, 75 DNR officers, Department of Natural Resources, as well as another 100 state troopers. So it looks like people are going to march west on Franklin Avenue. And there's a couple NLG, National Lawyers Guild, law observers. You see them in the green hat. There's one of them right there. It looks like they're going to try to get the drivers to go in front of the march and go west down Franklin. Or they're going back down Chicago, it looks like, maybe too.
Have you on Snap? I know. I'm just so popular.
We're just gonna wait here a moment till they figure out exactly which block they're going down. All right, yeah, it looks like west on Franklin is the deal here in Minneapolis. The car is sort of one of the cars that's leading the way is 4 or 5 gentlemen on top. You see a sign over here, white silence equals white approval. You see this, fucked with the wrong generation. You want to talk about your sign?
No, hey, honey, come here. This is his sign, by the way.
Yeah. You want to talk about your sign at all?
I'm be honest with y'all, okay? I'm be honest with y'all. We're done with this shit, okay? It's not fun and games anymore. We're fucking done with this shit. $1 million fucking dollars. Who the fuck got $1 million laying around to release this guy? This shit is not okay. Why do you think we're out here? Why do you think I got work called off? Why do you think we're out here? We're trying to make a difference, okay? Let's do something about it. This peaceful shit's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. I'm sick and I'm tired of my people dying. I'm literally sick of it. I'm literally tired and I'm literally fucking sick of it. We're gonna do something if it's the last thing I do in my veins. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the time.
Black Lives Matter!
What she said? What she said?
Black Lives Matter! Police! No justice, no peace!
High energy again on Franklin Ave.
No justice, no peace!
You want to talk about it?
I got one thing to say. Black Lives Matter! Justice for George Floyd! Keep Derek Chauvin in prison where he belongs!
Thank you. What's that?
Fuck the police! No peace! Prosecute the police!
You want to talk about
I got one thing. Justice for George Floyd!
it? Hear from some of the youth out here. It's a lot of youth out here again. It's very high energy out here. The march is going west down Franklin, coming up to Park Ave. I'm Nico. Tina? Nice, that's a beautiful name. Yes. It is my favorite name, to be honest. You see the chant now, you can hear it. ACAB, all cops are bastards. And then hey ho, hey ho ho. Killer cops have got to go.
Hey, thank you for recording this whole time, dude.
Appreciate it, yeah, thank you.
All cops are bastards! ACAB! All cops are bastards! ACAB! All cops are bastards! All cops are bastards!
got Georgia on the camera. We got Chris in the back end. Jen is out here sending tweets out. Check out our Twitter, UR_ninja. Check out our Instagram, unicorn.riot. Check out our Facebook, YouTube, and Vimeo. All that Unicorn Riot. Excuse me. So it looks like people are blocking the traffic here again. And again, it's a hard block.
They're killing us for no reason!
Hope that didn't hurt your ears.
No justice! No peace! Fuck the fucking police! Black lives, they matter here!
So again, we're here on Franklin and Park Ave. Again, the National Guard has been called up by Tim Walz, the governor, as well as 100 state troopers and 75 DNR officers. This is in response to the possible community protest and unrest in response to the releasing of Derek Chauvin from prison. He was released from Oak Park Heights, which is a maximum security prison, earlier today on a no cash bail. He was guaranteed by Allegheny Casualty Company. From my understanding, people started to look into them and started to look into even just the process of no cash bail, and we're raising suspicions and questions about that. And so there's a situation here. We have hundreds of youth out in the streets right now, headed down Franklin Avenue in South Minneapolis. Tons of support out here by the community. No police that we've seen yet. You hear in the background tons of honking of the horns, and this protest is now at least a full block and a half long. Seems to be growing. You want to say anything? We're trying to figure out like the next move. We have a contributor compensation. So we have like abilities to have contributions.
They don't get no peace.
So again, the march is now, it was on Franklin. It's now moving very quickly south on Portland Avenue here in south side of Minneapolis. Again, no police have been seen that I know of. People are protecting themselves with car blockades and bicycle blockades. Behind us are signs that end the MPD, I can't breathe. I can't breathe in response, obviously, to George Floyd, who had a knee on his neck for nearly 10 minutes earlier this summer, Memorial Day. There was a pretrial hearing for George Floyd and the killers, for Derek Chauvin and the killers of George Floyd this last month, September 11th. And at that pretrial hearing, some of I guess one of the highlights or one of the things that happened was Hennepin County Attorney's Office, the attorneys that were representing George Floyd were actually, representing the city and the state in their charges against George Floyd's killing, were actually taken off of the case. They've asked for I can't remember specifically what the term is, but they've asked for a redo of that discussion and that decision, and then they've got it. So we'll see what happens in the case. It's March 21st, 21 is when the trial is going to be starting. Right now, people are just marching through the South Side neighborhood. This is a very residential street. There's no businesses on this street for a few blocks. There's some universities up here.
Move out the way! Move out the way! Move out the way!
This group is driving through. I got some other things to talk about real quick. As we look at downtown in the distance, is George Floyd Square is still standing. There's been complications, or not complications, but there's been threats to take it down, sort of evict the area, raid the area, and evacuate the area. Those threats have been unfounded, and there's negotiations happening with the city and the organizers up at George Floyd Square. The organizers at George Floyd Square have 24 demands called the Justice Resolution. The Justice Resolution is 24 demands of ways to better the community on the South Side and near the George Floyd Square, as well as reopen cases and some other such things. They have a movement sort of called No Justice, No Street at this point, where they're saying, the organizers up at George Floyd Square are saying they're not going to give up that street, 38th Street or Chicago Ave, unless they get justice. So no justice, no street. As the march is going north down Portland, headed up to 24th Street here. Again, a pretty quick moving march. You saw a flag a minute ago, the red, black, and green flag, which is Black Lives Matter. Some other flags out here, Black Lives Matter flags. See Killer Cops Must Rot on a sign. This march is getting pretty spread out at this point. It's taking up about a block and a half, a block right now. Pretty spread out. Very energetic. They seem very, very sort of agitated from the people we've talked to. They're not really feeling these decisions that's been happening. They're not vibing with Derek Chauvin being released from prison. As we said earlier, there are some people who really believe that Derek Chauvin will be tried under tax evasion charges and will be convicted of that more so than he would be convicted of murder charges against George Floyd. We shall see. Again, Chauvin has been in protective segregation inside jails, and now he's released. Passing 24th Street here on the South Side. Just 2 blocks. 1 block to the right of us is actually I-35. It's getting rebuilt right now. This is the west side of the southeast side of the city, which is, if you separate it by the interstate 35, which again, talking about disparities and talking about how the government has set up against communities here. When we're talking about interstates, we're also talking about how these interstates have been constructed and why they've been constructed, where they've been constructed. And the South Side dealt with that with a black neighborhood, having the interstate go through it, especially in St. Paul, where Rondo neighborhood had I-94 go through it. So it's just when you look at the structure of society and how things have been formulated and formed right now, a lot of people are calling that out, and a lot of people are calling out the disparities that they see within that structure of society. But also, as we heard from the youth, within health, within education, within all these different facets of institutions in America, there's a lot of disparities, and especially in Minnesota, it's one of the most, if you look at the disparities, one of the most racist states in the country. Whereas a lot of people hold it up for its progressive values and its progressive leadership. A lot of time that hasn't resulted into results that are progressive results that people are looking for. So, you hear a new chant coming.
We got their back. Watch their back. They're under
Lisa Simpson is one of who I originally heard this chant from. Lisa Simpson's son, Richard Risher, was killed in Los Angeles. She brought this chant to the Mother's March. Lisa's also going to be featured in our Mother's documentary when we get that popped up in the next year, hopefully sooner. But check that out from Unicorn Riot. We will be producing a Mother's documentary. Georgia, who's on the camera right now, and I are the two ones doing the work right now on it. And so Lisa Simpson, that literal chant we just heard was from Lisa Simpson, who is a mother that's going to be featured in the doc. And so this is we're talking about George Floyd. We're talking about the killing of George Floyd, the murder of George Floyd. We also have to talk about the community and his family, and the residuals after the killing. There's just always negative impacts that reverberate through a whole circle, and through that circle, and that next circle, and that next circle. And that's what we see in police killings. And we're sort of examining some of that with the mothers, talking about how mothers have brought this pain and turned it into power to activate for change. And so this summer we've seen and heard a lot from a lot of mothers. And also the project is something that we were already focusing on. And now the project is taking a new realm. You see, la migra, la poesía, la misma porquería.
George Floyd!
The cops and the immigrant ICE are pigs. Translation, rough translation of that one.
George Floyd! George Floyd! George Floyd!
You want to talk at all?
What I gotta say?
Yeah. How you feel? What do you think about Derek Chauvin being released from prison?
Damn. I think it's fucked up. Like, it really shows really the system that America's in. Like, the fact that he can get out, and the fact that people actually put money together to bail him out. Like, that shit crazy to me, honestly. Like,
what do you hope happens in this case?
I just hope he gets what he deserves, just like any other human. You know what I'm saying? Like, it sucks that the cops, they get to demonstrate being outside their power, and they don't ever get the consequences that they deserve for. So I'm looking forward to see what happens. I think it's crazy that they thought they could do that and thought we wasn't gonna react like this. So
yeah, with that reaction, having to deal with us all summer too,
Yeah.
What is your hope for the future? Do you think that reaction will create change in the future, or has it made a step back where the government will then go harder against people?
I think the more peaceful we keep it, the better it'll be. Because then we're not doing nothing for them to complain about. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, you got to get your voice heard somehow. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, for sure.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Any of you all want to speak at all? This is 26th Street. This is a one-way. People are blocking this side. They're not worried about the right side of the street, as it's a one-way. Again, hard blockades are stopping other traffic from impeding themselves into this march. Now the chant is no cops, no KKK, no racist USA. This march, high energy, headed north, past 26, and now it's coming up to 28 soon, 27th to 28th. Seems like they might be headed back to the George Floyd Square. They might take this all the way up to 38th Street and then cut over and get into the square from there. We'll see. Seems like a lot of the youth that are organizing this are prepared to go to school tomorrow, and so because of that, they wanted to also allow for people to get home at a reasonable hour, and also they were looking out for people's safety. They said they were not prepared to be bombarded with the violence that the state can impute upon its people that are asking for grievances from the government. Small housekeeping thing. UnicornRide.ninja is our website. Check it out. We have a new article on the Chauvin On the Chauvin being released, we have his bail bond information picture, as well as the power of attorney picture up on the website, and also our Twitter, I think our Facebook as well, so check those out on the internets. We've also covered George Floyd uprising pretty extensively. We have a 5-episode series coming up this fall that'll document a little bit more of what we were covering during the George Floyd uprising, at least the first 5 days or so, first 10 days. Beware from that. That'll be coming out in the next months. There's a lot of other related material that we have that'll be coming out. We'll grab an interview in a minute here. We're sort of separated from this group. There's a large group behind us too, so I'll grab an interview in a minute. Thank you all for tuning in. This is Nico from Unicorn Riot. This is Georgia on the camera. Jen is out here in the streets. Check out our Twitter. Chris on the back end, thank you. And thank you all for tuning in. So you don't have to say your name if you don't want to, but we have the camera right behind us. Are you okay being on film?
Hey, we gotta keep it tight, all right?
All right.
You okay being on film?
Sure.
Okay. If not, then we can just do audio.
Yeah, I'll just do audio.
Okay,
yeah,
just
I'll
audio.
do audio
Okay.
too.
Okay. Cool. Yep. So when it comes to right now, we're on Chicago Ave, nearing 28th Street. There's a few hundred people out here. How does it feel for you?
Honestly, it just feels so like I don't know. Lately, I don't know how to describe it. Like everybody, black, white, Hispanic, Native, all different backgrounds, all different races coming together for a cause.
Like if you at home and you want to come here, don't think about it twice. Just get your ass over here and like just come over here and like let's fuck shit up because that shit's not right and it's just not right.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah. Like this is 400 years of animosity, discrimination built up, and not only with black people, but like natives, Hispanics, Asians, LGBT, everybody. So here we are, and we're telling them we're not taking this shit anymore.
Thank you for that. What do you hope for Derek Chauvin, for the killers of George Floyd?
I hope they put their asses in jail and rotted it. Because they don't deserve to be out in the public, and if they do, and if they let them out, this whole city's gonna burn to the damn ground. And not
Go ahead.
No, you go.
No, go ahead.
And I'm not saying it as a friend. I'm just saying what happened in the Rodney King trial, which resulted in the 1992 riots. I'm saying Minnesota, get your shit together and fast.
Yeah, and how they were saying like all of them got to go to jail, and all of them got to pay for what they did, and I would even say not only them, but all the murderers and all the killers that are still out here, because this is not just for George Floyd. This is for all of our people that have been killed in police, but this is also for George Floyd. Like, fuck 12, fuck the government, fuck everyone, and they've been declaring war. If they want war, we finna give them war, and that's on period.
Thank you. Huh? What? We're sort of all the way at the end.
What are you doing out here? I've been staying in Minnesota for a bit.
Yeah? No school right now.
Yeah, no school.
Oh, you live right down the street?
Sure. I watching your text. I was trying to text you, but I was like, you got me. That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah, keep it up. Sorry about that. I had an ex-student that I used to teach run into me. Great to see him. So yeah, this is the sort of the back of the march. You see a lot of people with the bikes. They're protecting the march as well. It's the cars, the hard block, more softer blockade with the bikes, and then you got people in the middle. And that's sort of how the outside layers of it and the front of this march is mostly people, but people are protecting the march in this aspect. See, right now we are coming up on Lake Street, which is about a block and a half in front of us, and it looks to be there's maybe 500 to 1,000 people out here from this vantage point. We're walking over the Greenway at the moment. So people use the Greenway for their bicycles, but also lately it's been used in many ways to help unhoused folks. It looks like people are continuing to go north on Portland, where some people went west. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. So again, we're here live on the south side of Minneapolis. It seems like the crowd might be moving back to the George Floyd Square. It's a few hundred deep right now, maybe up to 600 to 700 at the most, maybe. If you add in all the cars and all the bikes, it might, we might be nearing 700-800. It's very hard to tell. It's really dark. But if you start to calculate how the chunks of these people are and standing, it's quite a few hundred. Again, we've heard earlier, if you are on YouTube, move the stream back if you want to hear from people. That noise was a backfire, another backfire of the motorcycle. Don't worry about that if you were hearing that and thinking it was gunshots. Coming up to Lake Street here. If you went to the right, about 6 blocks from where we are, you would get nearer to the 5th precinct. You would also get near to Lake Street, where the little strip mall was, where Office Depot and Sprint and some of those other stores are. There's a trial that has started for Matthew Rupert, who is facing arson charges from the government, federal government, 3 federal felonies: arson, riot, and civil disorder. And Matthew Rupert is facing those charges for the evidence they have against him is basically his Facebook videos. So he Facebook lived himself driving from Illinois, coming over to Minneapolis, participating in the protests in Minneapolis, and doing things that were illegal, allegedly. So the police have him in custody. He's in Sherburne County, which houses federal inmates, as well as ICE detention center in Sherburne County. That's just a few blocks over. So that is one of the first cases that have gone to a motion hearing and that are furthering moving to trial. As far as federal defendants go, we'll have an article on that soon. The government used Facebook warrant as well as a warrant of his house to look for material that would benefit their investigation. So we have somebody consistently hitting their horn. You see that person on top of the hood too. Quite the view with downtown in the background. This person at the moment is he's ghost riding the whip, but is somebody going to go back in it? I don't know. Quite a lot of cars in the back. March is coming up to 31st Street. 31st Street off to the right, 5 blocks is where the 5th precinct is. In mid-August, the 5th precinct was basically attacked, sort of vandalized by a small group of people, maybe a few dozen. Here goes some of the bikers riding through. Again, the bikers are providing traffic security out here. Looks like some people are like going that direction, and they could be going that direction because they want to go home. They could be going that direction because they want to go to the precinct. But that is the direction of the 5th precinct. And they've all started to come this direction now. Well, yeah. Yeah, like the second day, right? It's so loud, so you might have to scream into the mic. So you were out here from the start.
Yeah.
What does this look like 5 months later for you?
I still got the same attitude. I'm still upset, and we still want justice for George. Nothing's changed.
Hey,
yeah. And I'm still gonna be out here every day.
Thank you. It's real hard to hear, I'm sure.
Don't forget, I'm recorded too. Follow me on Instagram at the Fly Subject. I'm documenting everything. So yeah. Tune in.
Come on to support.
All right. 1 second. So real quick, can you say again what it's like 5 months later? What you were saying?
I'm still upset. I still got the same feelings that I had 5 months before. I'm still out here for George, and ain't nothing finna change. And if I don't want to be peaceful, okay? I can do whatever it's going to take to get him in jail, okay? All right, get at me.
Appreciate you. Yeah, what's up?
It's not even about being black and white. It's more than George right now. You know, my skin and your skin, we're the same people. You know, God made everyone different, so you can just differentiate people. You know, you can know black from white. Like if it was all white, everything would be boring. If it was all black, everything would be boring. But because we're all humans, we should all really get to know each other. You know, you're the same as me. I'm the same as you. Same heart, same face, same arm. You know, just because someone is black, you can't have a black justice system for him. Just because someone is white, you can't have a white justice system. Just because he's rich, you can't have a rich justice system. And just because he's poor, you can't have a poor justice system for him. So everything just needs to be fair, and we all just needs to be together like this, no matter what. Come out, show love, support. You know, Southside, we outside, baby.
Thank you. All right, so we got these cars that are moving a little faster. We're gonna try to get up out of their face a little bit.
Let's go! Donald Trump! Hey, bring that shit up! Hey!
How's it feel out here?
You said what?
How's it feel right now?
Man, be back at the square. Hey, we got a unity march on the 26th. This is what we need to start right now. If we try to reform the police, we need to reform ourselves first and come together and show them that we can stick together before they try to dismiss this case. Fuck as you said, we back.
26, what time?
Hey, we going early, noon, from 38 to the courthouse back to 38.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
This is history in the making, bro. What you're doing right now, it's gonna go a long way. Trust me, bro. I know it looks like everybody doesn't know better, but what you're doing, this is important. You just have to get on camera. You just have to get everything, equality on camera, you know? But we good, man. I'm proud of this. It's a good turnout. I appreciate what you guys are doing too.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Thanks,
But how do you feel? How do you feel about this? Let me ask you. You have like a.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me get my phone. Yeah, that works.
On the email?
Yep.
Got it info with Nico, N-I-K-O.
Okay, bet. I'm Omar.
Hit me up. Cut through the crowd a little bit.
Hey, pass it down. We're going to George Floyd Square.
You see people are linked up here. They have the arm in arm. In the background is smoke coming from a burnout from the dozens of vehicles that are back there. Some conversations happening up the front. You can hear him. These are youth. These are under 18, under 20 youth. From my understanding, the State Patrol might have taken off from the airport a few minutes ago. So possibly the State Patrol, who is activated here to come into Minneapolis, possibly will be on its way from the airport to the south side. We do not have confirmation on that, but that is what some people are saying. Again, so this is the beginning. There's a bunch of orange shirts up there. That's Agape and some other folks, maybe freedom fighters. But then we have a truck here in the front. We have a bunch of people going very fast, and right behind us was the militants of the youth that were linked arms, and now they've unlinked arms a little bit. So there's so much energy out here. I'm not sure how people will be chill just going back to the square.
Take it to the streets and fuck the police, no justice, no peace. Take it to the streets and fuck the police, no justice, no peace. Take it to the streets and fuck the police, no justice, no peace. Take it to the streets and fuck the police, no justice, no peace.
crowd is coming up on 34th in Portland. We can see right above us there's a helicopter. I'm not sure if that's a news helicopter or if it's a surveillance helicopter. There's been amazing amounts of surveillance helicopters that have been happening all summer here in Minneapolis area. Friends living around the square have talked about consistent helicopters for months and months. It just sort of dissipated recently, but you can see that one shining its light now onto the crowd. You can't feel the light from down here, but you can see the light shining. You hear chants of George Floyd, fuck 12. And the crowd is passing 34th Street here on Portland Avenue. 4 blocks away from 38th and about 4 blocks west of Chicago. So as you can see, that's downtown in the background in the distance. People are moving south down Portland Avenue. Passing 34th right now, we're on 34th, and the crowd is moving south. And this march is very, very fast. It's been moving very fast since the start of it. There's been several attempts to try to slow it down, but
I love your live stream so much.
Yeah. All right, sweet. So what does it feel like being out here as a youth too?
It's really good because I don't even know what to say, but I like how everyone's a community and everyone comes out to talk about these problems that we're having, and justice isn't being served, and we need to get it ourselves.
So what does justice look like for you right now?
I think we need to defund the police and stop putting, we literally have helicopters that are using fucking gas and shit. Where's that money coming from?
So you feel like it's a lot of resources going into the state or the police, and
Yes.
Is there enough resources going into youth programming and stuff like that?
Not at all.
So were you out here during the beginning of this, during May?
Yeah, we were out here when the day that George died. We were out there the next day when they had the protest.
What's it feel like now, 4 months later, when we have this sort of the atmosphere is tensed back up?
Well, it's fucking crazy because 3 years ago we were here for Philando Castile, which happened in fucking Roseville, so close to home, and now we're out here just fighting over the same shit, and it just fucking sucks that nothing's changed.
What would you want to say to people that are watching this at home?
Get the fuck out here! What are you doing at home? Why don't you care about human beings?
Any last words?
Fuck 12!
Thank you. Appreciate it. There's 35th Street. People are passing by. The traffic in the back is still there, pretty deep. Still people on top of cars and vehicles. A lot of bikers on the sides. I haven't seen many medics out here, nor have I seen much legal observers, but I've seen one. A lot of independent news out here, and a few corporate news we've seen. You hear people on the...
Yes! We deserve it! We own it! Yes! Yes! We're the people! For this world! We deserve it! We're the people that work in this world! We deserve it! We're We deserve to be honored. We work for the world. We deserve it. We own it. Yes, yes, yes. We own it.
You see the crowd of vehicles, very deep, very deep. Dozens of vehicles now trailing the march. People standing on the cars, people sitting on cars, people holding signs out of cars.
Hey, thank you.
Okay, we got Georgia on the camera. We got Chris in the back and Jen out here running some tweets. So check out our Twitter. I haven't been able to check it out, but I'm sure there's a bunch of nice tweets up there. There's also the vice president debate out there. So if you're tuning into our stream, thank you for catching us from the streets. These cars right here, they're 4 deep in a three-car lane. We saw this quite a bit this summer, where cars would show up to the marches, and it would be a caravan following the march. So this shows also the popularity of not only the movement against the police violence, but the movement to defund the police and the movement for abolition. It'll be interesting what the future holds here. In Minneapolis, we had what seemed to be the political will, but turned into political posturing earlier this summer as far as change, real change. And we'll see if the posturing turns into real change. A lot of the community's been asking that and hoping that the uprising didn't go in vain. Doesn't go in vain. A lot of people think it already hasn't gone in vain. That them speaking out, eclipsing the fear factor, is already a victory in itself. It's a fear factor the community members were talking about when it comes to expressing their grievances towards the state. A lot of people felt like they passed through that fear factor. Looks like some people are moving left down 37th and not taking 38th. We're up to 30. We're up here. We're getting very close to the George Floyd Square. The Say Their Names ceremony. Is it the ceremony? Say Their Names cemetery. Excuse me. We'll be on the way if we go this way, so we might be able to walk through that to check that out. We'll see. Right now, the crowd is directing everybody to go east. Again, this march is a very fast-paced, high-spirited, plenty of angst and anger from the youth who are swearing that it will not happen continuously with their generation. They are out for change, not caring how far that they have to go to reach that change is what we heard multiple times from different youth. We also heard they want to keep it peaceful. And we also heard that they want to have the officers go to jail and serve normal jail time as a person who had killed somebody on the streets would serve. People are passing 37th in Oakland here. Again, there's a lot of youth out here. Probably 90% of these folks out here are youth, under 25. Again, they got the hard blockade with the vehicles right here, protecting the protests. We got a lot of people with their fists up over here. We'll walk over here and check it out to the crowd.
I want to thank everybody for coming out here. This emergency protest, because cops are an emergency to our community. They're an emergency to our well-being. They're an emergency to black people. We can't walk the streets knowing that the people in blue want to kill. We can't walk the streets with them sitting comfortably in their homes after being in jail for murder. That's why we're out here. Minneapolis don't listen when we say we're angry. Minneapolis don't listen when we say we're angry. And we're angry. We're tired. And that's why we took the streets. That's why we took the streets, because they gonna listen when they can't sleep. If we don't get no justice, we don't get no sleep. If we don't get no justice, they don't get no peace. No peace, no sleep. They're not gonna do nothing. Nothing. Because what the city needs is community. And that's what community looks like. Tell me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Tell me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Remember that. Remember that when he's going to trial. Remember that when you have to vote. Right.
Right. Oh.
And I almost had to woo. Again, I just want to thank y'all all for being out here and doing it appropriately and safely. What? Oh yeah. And what's so significant about this is that, hold up, camera's on me.
Hey, there's a camera behind you too, my fault. What's
important about this is I'm a 16-year-old African-American girl. Everybody was getting mad at me and saying it's unorganized. I'm 16. I'm 16, and I just let y'all all throughout the city so people can hear us. They suppress black voices, black women. I'm fighting more than one fight. I'm fighting for my brothers, they don't fight back for me. I'm fighting against the health system. I'm fighting against the justice system. I'm fighting against every system. I have to do this because we're tired. We're tired of following this 400-year agenda that's leaving our brothers 6 feet under. That's leaving us 6 feet under. That's leaving our mothers 6 feet under. That's why we raise a fist and we fight back, because we're tired of this shit. I don't care how many white supremacists got down my head. I don't care who the fuck is trying to tell me what to do. No, that's how you suppress black voices. So when y'all was telling me let's go to the precinct, fuck that shit, because I'm leading this shit. I did that. You can't try to tell me what I'm going to do. And Tiger, I'm going to call you out because you're supposed to be a community leader. If you wanted to do that, you could have led this then. No hate to you. I'm just saying. You can't try to suppress black voices. That's what pushes kids down. I have school tomorrow. Raise your hand if you have work tomorrow.
Work on my mama.
We have to go out of our way in this schedule just to fight for something basic human rights. That's not right, and they're gonna hear that. That's my truth. I'm not gonna lie. I'm tired. I'm gonna wrap this up. If y'all want to do something after this in solidarity, because we were doing this. No, I don't know how many times I have to say that. No, you're not speaking on my microphone. Sorry. Sorry. Let them know.
Black women, they matter here. 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 And Queen, go ahead, Queen, speak it.
Tyler is gonna lead a chant, one last chant, and then we're all gonna go about our ways. If there's something else you want to do after this, I am not responsible. Just so you know, that is not me. I'm saying it right now, and the cameras heard me. If you do anything after this, that was not me.
She's not responsible.
I'm not. So act responsible.
She tired of me.
We're gonna hear this chant.
So y'all are just gonna repeat after me. Fists up. It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
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 All power to the people.
Power to the people.
People are taking up the space right here on 37th and Park. This specific rally is wrapped up. They're telling people to go home, and if people want to do a different rally after this, then that's something different.
Going home, try to go in groups, okay?
Oh shit, I don't even
And if
know
you're
my
going to the square, they ask
Oh,
everyone to
shit,
be
what a train
like
today? What a
peaceful,
train today?
quiet, holding a vigil space.
It sounds like if people are going to the square, they're going to hold a vigil space and be chill. If other people want to move around, they can move around. When they're going home, they go in pairs. That's what we just heard right at the end. We see a bunch of folks moving around.
Yeah, absolutely, no problem. You got your shot. Well, it's worth a try. Well, makes sense.
You want to talk about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should. You should talk to
What are we talking about? If she's talking about what I want to talk about, we talking about black liberation. So,
So, yeah, let's come up here.
You know Matt.
Matt, whatever you're more comfortable with, and you can say your name. You don't have to. However you want to do it, introduce yourself. But we are live right now. So this is 5 months after, basically 4.5 months after George Floyd was killed. People are taking space for a long time right here still. I know you're around out here as well. What is the feeling out here? And then we'll get into the more topic of discussion with this Black liberation. But what is the feeling out here right now after this march?
Well, the feeling is a little uncertain. A lot of people are not sure what to do right now, not sure what the next step is or what the plan is actually, and whoever is organizing this, I hope they get it together. When it comes down to holding down the space, we still holding strong, still, standing our stance on what it is that and why we're closing the streets right now.
Yeah, for sure. And so there's been a lot of negotiation between folks from the square and the city, and just folks in the square just organizing itself. Can you talk about how that plays into the idea of Black liberation right now here in America? Not specifically the negotiations, but the space in itself and how people are holding that space and actually coming to the government like, yo, we're not going to give you this space until you give us something. Does that play any part in the idea of Black liberation as we talked about at the beginning of the minute?
Yes. Sorry, my voice is gone. But yes, the demands do have something to do with Black liberation, yes, because the injustice of what happened here at the corner of 38th in Chicago had a traumatized effect on the neighborhood itself. But the demands do have some type of blueprint or some type of different type of change that can benefit everywhere if people could stand the same stance. Like the Black liberation, overall, yes, there's a lot of people out here for that stance, but some people are out here just for the community itself, in a stance of what it is that they deserve. But Black liberation on itself is more of a worldwide thing, or the whole U.S. thing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep. I feel like I understand that. Can you break it down further, where you have specific community demands that are from the square, but you're talking about Black liberation on a whole is a bigger umbrella. Can you break that down a little bit further as to what is your idea of Black liberation?
Black liberation to me overall that's like somebody asking for reparations. Most people want to ask for reparations is like saying, oh, I need this amount of money. But if somebody asks me, I'm going to want my 40 acres and a chicken so I can, make it do what it do with it. But some people in the sense is like, oh, well, I need just this. Or, the government, not the government, but the city asks us, what does justice look like? If you're going to ask that question, then you need to ask everybody that, because depending on who you ask determines on the question. And Black liberation determines on who it is that you ask and how in depth of the liberation you're looking at. So if you're asking what is Black liberation is to have the fairness and the same opportunities as everybody else, so we can have the same chance and the same outcome, or somewhat of the same outcome as somebody else. We should not have to try to fight and try to fight for what it is that we deserve, instead of feeling like, oh, we just have the same opportunities, we have the same outcome, oh, we don't have to live in the same type of fear that we're living in right now because of the opportunities that we have, or in the injustice of what's going on in the eyes of the oppressor. So if the oppressor is dealing with us in a specific type of way, why do they get to determine on what justice look like, or what type of change that we need, if you're not asking us around here, people of color, people of the community, people who are being traumatized or affected by what's going on? So that really determines on who it is that you ask. Me personally, I feel like it's the opportunities, the response, the chance, the opportunity, the feel, the want. Can we want just as much as other people? Can we want? Why do we only get to be heard if we're only looked at by how much we're worth and how much power that we have? So why it shouldn't be like that? We should get the same opportunities just because we are who we are. Just like they're asking people around this city, what does justice look like? Have they asked the people that living in these tents around this city? No, they haven't. Have they asked the people who don't own houses or don't have a business but literally live in this community? No, they don't. They're asking for the people that have property, that have businesses, but they need to be asking everybody. They ain't came to ask me. They ain't came to ask my brother over here or my sister over here, but they're sitting up here asking people who's already in the space where they need to be at what they need or what do people deserve. Why are you asking the people who already got it right instead of asking the people who still trying to fight for getting right? Y'all asking the wrong questions to the wrong people. Ask the right questions to the right people, then we might be able to get the change that we want. And the street isn't all about, how the community feels. On my stance out here of keeping these blocks closed and everybody seeing me out here all the time is because of the liberation in itself. What it is that we deserve as people. It ain't for me, it ain't for my kids, it's actually for their kids, because this is going to take some time to get what it is that we want. So, honestly, I'm not in a rush to make an answer for what justice looks like until I talk to everybody. Because I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what that is. And just like, the slogan of making America great again. When was America great? When we wasn't placing no voices, when we wasn't making no decisions, or when we wasn't speaking for ourselves on what it is that we wanted. And now you want, I think that's really what it boils down to. So liberation in itself. Fairness. Without feeling fearful of wanting something. Because now that we want something, now we're in fear of, right now, we're in fear of protesting walking down the street. Because we're walking down the street. We're fearful in some type of way, shape, or form of just walking down the street, driving down the street, walking past some type of law enforcement and feeling some type of way even though you ain't did nothing wrong. So why do we have to live like that? Or why do we have to feel like somebody that doesn't even interact with me or the people around me or even in my neighborhood get to dictate on how it is that we need to be disciplined? You're taking such an executive decision on people's lives when you should not have that type of power over anybody, when you're not even protecting us to begin with. And it's not even about the police, it's the system itself and how it's built. And was it built to humanize us or to dehumanize us? You want us to dehumanize us? Me personally, it was built to dehumanize somebody to make us feel like we need you to humanize us. That's kind of ass backwards, right? Just like, do people know about their heritage, or do you just know about what it is that's taught in these schools? I'm just saying. But or why is it that people feel like they need the school system for their children to learn? Because it was placed in their mind that that's what it is that they need. See, now you done brought me in a whole in depth of a conversation that I can go on and on and on and on about. Like, it's beyond these four corners or these four neighborhoods, because these four corners are touching four different neighborhoods. But they're only looking out for these four different neighborhoods. What about what's happening over north? If you want to talk about what's happening on these four corners, talk about the city itself. It's not about just these four corners. It's about the city itself, because Minneapolis Police Department goes all over Minneapolis. Not just these four corners. And just because something that went live and went viral and opened up everybody's eyes that they cannot no longer just push under the rug or turn another cheek, you have to see what it was for what it is. Now we can't sugarcoat it or make it seem like it wasn't what it was. Now people have to realize it, and now what are we going to do about it? And people are mad that we're holding our stance and shutting this street down because it's costing the city money. That's how you hurt somebody in the worst way, is hurting with their money, hurting with their pride or their money. And I think we're doing a combination of both.
Hell yeah.
So in a sense, liberation. That's why I'm out here. But I am out here still for the community. I was raised here. I ate at Cup many a times. I grew up there. Man, history with Cup. So I be understanding when people be standing for Cup. I understand, but then in a way I don't understand, because if you want to talk about the system, the hood stores are a part of the system. Is it really beneficial for the hood? Hey, I guess that depends on who you ask. But I'm just saying, if we're going to talk about the police, then we got to talk about the system itself. And when we're talking about liberation, then we need to talk about the system. It ain't just about the police. But then again, if we're going to defend the police, we're going to protect us, because somebody need to do it. I'm just saying. So it's more of a, what is it that we need? What is change? What is justice? What is, hey, you're going to have to have a conversation with a lot of people to figure that out. And then you're trying to ask somebody what is something when we never had it to begin with. So how are we going to tell you about something that we never had? We never had the justice that we're asking for, so we don't necessarily know what it looks like. So you're trying to ask us for something that we've never seen or heard of. We only dream about. But that dream determines on the person. So you need to ask everybody what that dream looks like, so then we can really paint a picture. But I think that goes down to unity. And if how are we going to be unified if people don't know who they are, where they came from, their heritage, anything like that. But that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. Like I said, I can go on and on.
Thank you, thank you.
So,
If people are watching this and you would want to tell them anything, what would you want to tell them? In some of the last words, because some of the march moved off that way. I think they're.
God, I can stay here.
Yeah. So yeah, what is your last words that you would have to say to anybody?
I would say don't let media or TV dictate on what education is. Education starts in books. Educate yourself. Knowledge is power. Learn about who you are, where it is that you came from, so then you can have an understanding of who it is that you are, so you know where you want to be or where it is that you are going. Because that just, people are lost and they don't even really realize it nor understand it. If you don't realize it nor acknowledge it, how are you going to fix it? Knowledge is power. You need to unlearn and relearn in order to move forward as people. But I'm going to leave you at that because it's cold out here.
Thank you.
My name is Mylisha. Oh yeah, most definitely. I'll be in touch. See y'all. I just try to march. I'm interviewed and y'all got
We're trying to figure out real quick. 1 second, you all. Well, let's do this. Let's wrap this up on the stream and let's get down to that other location, and we'll report from that other location if we get a chance, and if it's something reportable. So this is Nico from Unicorn Riot. Thank you all for joining. This is Georgia behind on the camera. We got Jen out here in the streets as well, Chris on the back end. Thank you. We know the vice president debate is going on, so thank you all for tuning in to this stream. People have sort of cleared out. One group is going to the 5th precinct. Back here is the Say Their Names cemetery, and that's like where a lot of names of police victims are sort of in artly makeshift gravestones. So that's here, 37th. George Floyd Square is a block and a half away, and so we're going to try to figure out our next moves here. We're going to bring the stream down if there's something more stream worthy as we go into the next moves that we make. Then we'll bring the stream back up. So thank you all for joining. Again, this is Nico. It's Georgia on the camera. Check us out at unicornriot.ninja/donate is to donate to us. We are a nonprofit 501c3 organization, so any donations are tax deductible. Check us out on Twitter, UR_ninja. Check us out on Instagram, unicorn.riot, YouTube and Vimeo and Facebook. Peace, you all. Have a good night. We're going to bring the stream down. As we bring it down, this was action in response to George Floyd's killer, Derek Chauvin, being released from jail on bond. Thank you.
too.